Welcome back, everyone. Let's take a look at the respiratory system. We've covered the skeletal system, the neural system. Now we're looking at the respiratory system. So let me just clear off this slide here. Okay. So the purpose of the respiratory system is we want to take in oxygen, and the oxygen goes deep, deep into the lungs. And deep in the lungs, there's some capillary exchange. And what the body is going to push out is going to be CO2, carbon dioxide. And we can divide the respiratory system into an upper respiratory tract, and then we have a lower respiratory tract. And the main reason why we breathe in oxygen is to deliver the oxygen to a part of the cell, right? We have a nucleus, we have the cell membrane. And one of the important organelles that you'll be learning about this week is an organelle called the mitochondria. The mitochondria. And the mitochondria is going to take that oxygen, it's going to use it to produce energy in the form of ATP. ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate. In order to make energy, we need oxygen. And that oxygen is going to be carried by red blood cells. And remember, red blood cells carry something called hemoglobin. Hemoglobin, one of the things you get checked on your blood work when you go for your physicals. And heme has an iron containing portion to it. And we know that iron is important in our bodies, especially our blood cells, because oxygen binds to iron. We know that because if you have iron in the environment and then it rains and we have oxygen that hits iron, it can rust. It oxidizes the iron, which is why in our diet we need antioxidants so that things don't oxidize and get damaged. So we breathe in oxygen, it gets into the lungs. The red blood cells pick up that oxygen. The red blood cells are going to carry that oxygen to the heart to make it beat, to the stomach to make it work, to your biceps to make them work, to your brain to make you think. So the respiratory system is important. It's going to deliver that oxygen eventually into the mitochondria so that we can make adenosine triphosphate. Okay, so we'll talk about all the different parts of the respiratory tract um, in anatomy and physiology. Now, since we're talking about the respiratory tract and I mentioned red blood cells, we might as well talk about the circulatory system in conjunction with that. So, we need the heart to pump all that oxygenated blood to the brain, to the muscles, to all the organs of the body. And then when the red blood cells dump the oxygen to the mitochondria of those body parts for energy production, now the red blood cell doesn't have oxygen anymore, so it has to find its way to go back to the lungs to pick up more oxygen. Then that oxygenated blood goes to the heart, and the heart pumps that oxygenated blood to all the body parts. Then it dumps the oxygen, and now the deoxygenated blood has to find a way to go to the lungs again, where the lungs pick up the oxygen, find a way to go back to the heart to pump it to all parts of the body once again. So the circulatory system and the respiratory system, they do work hand in hand, and the nervous system controls the lungs, it controls the heart, so they all kind of function together. Even though we learn the systems independently, they do work together in a holistic manner. The blood is also used to transfer the gases throughout the body. It's used to transfer nutrients. It transfers hormones from the endocrine system. It helps to get rid of toxins. So now all that blood is going to be circulating to the kidneys over here, which are part of the urinary system, and the kidneys are involved in detoxification to help us filter and remove toxins from the body. So the urinary system is can't function without the circulatory system. Okay. So we'll spend quite a bit of time talking about the kidneys and its relationship to detoxification. The kidneys are also involved in vitamin D production. The kidneys are involved in producing vitamin D. The kidneys are involved in regulating blood pressure. Wow, really? The kidneys are involved in regulating blood pressure? Yep. So is the lungs. The lungs are involved in regulating blood pressure. So we'll talk about a system called the renin angiotensin aldosterone system, which involve both the lungs and the kidneys to help regulate blood pressure. The renin angiotensin aldosterone system. It's a beautiful system that we'll talk about in terms of regulating blood pressure. Okay, when I come back, we'll talk about the digestive system.